Hey guys, and welcome back to the Face It podcast. Thank you for joining us again today. I am actually with the lovely Arabella from Arabella Elizabeth Beauty. So thank you for being on the podcast today.
Thank you for inviting me.
No problem at all. We're very glad to have you. And I suppose we should start off kind of getting to know you a bit. So did you want to kind of introduce yourself and your business and the things that you kind of get up to?
Yeah. So I've been in the beauty and aesthetics industry for about 17 years now, so a long time. I work for myself, so self-employed basis, doing anything from sort of beauty treatments to aesthetics. I love learning. So over the last 17 years, I'm always looking at what's out there, keeping up to date with everything. So yeah, love that. And then I do actually also work in a clinic a couple of days a week. Yeah, I'm very busy. And then a mum as well. So the mum juggle. And I also do some training for my friend's company, JF Advanced Aesthetics, as well. So yeah, a bit of everything.
Yeah, I mean, lots going on, but I suppose it's always nice to keep busy and especially doing something which I assume you love.
Yes, no, definitely. I love the industry. I couldn't see me doing anything else now. Um, I love learning, and obviously in this industry, it is fast paced. You're constantly learning new things. There's always something to keep you challenged and new things coming out. So yeah, I really like that, and I enjoy the teaching side of things as well. So over the years, I've kind of progressed, and then did my teaching qualification and my assessors, and then yeah, branched into teaching as well. One of my jobs I worked at for 6 years, International Dermal Institute. I was sort of traveling around Europe and other places as well, training and teaching. So that was really great. And then, like I say, sort of latest role is doing my self-employed private beauty and aesthetics, and then doing training for my friend's aesthetics business as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much we could talk about just all the things that you do. I suppose maybe on a personal level, if you're happy for me to ask you, how is it in terms of kind of juggling all these things? And as you mentioned, you're also a mum. So how do you
Yeah.
manage to kind of like fit all these things into your day?
Yes, it is hectic. I think, well, I work part time in a clinic. That's only 2 days a week, so that's manageable. And then I do all my sort of private beauty evenings, weekends, training for my friend's company. That's usually sort of, generally weekends, but also some days in the week. Um, yeah, so I kind of manage it that way, and kind of, yeah, when children are at nursery school and stuff like that. But I've enjoyed, like, obviously I took maternity leave and so on, but I've enjoyed getting back to work, and kind of I wouldn't want to not work, like, even though being a mum is fantastic and I enjoy that, but I love this career in this industry. So yeah, it's good.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that this industry offers for a lot of people, obviously not all of them, but is a bit of flexibility, especially when we work for
Yeah.
ourselves and things like that. You can kind of fit it around whatever else might be happening in your life, like being a mum, for example. So,
Definitely. I think, yeah, over the years, I had always worked full time in this industry. And like I said, when I was doing the international training role, I loved that because I love travel and travel as well. But then I realized, actually, for starting a family, working, for yourself is actually more flexible. And that is kind of one of the reasons, many years ago, I'd always had this interest in beauty. And I remember my mum saying my bedroom looked like Boots warehouse with all like the beauty products and stuff everywhere. So when I came into this industry, it was a love for it, but also the fact that I would have a trade or a skill that I could kind of take anywhere in the world with me. And also it's something you could work for yourself and have that flexibility later in life. So yeah, that's why I kind of, yeah, came into it as well.
yeah, which is great. Like you said, you can take it literally anywhere. It's such a,
Yeah.
I say, a transferable skill. You can pop up wherever you might be at any time in life, which is always good.
Definitely.
I noticed you've mentioned training a lot, which is amazing. So I was wondering whether you could start with telling us about your own training experience,
Hmm.
like how,
Yeah.
obviously what you've done, but also how you feel it went, what you actually learned from it, maybe not directly to do with, you know, aesthetics,
Yeah.
but the
Yeah.
experience of learning.
Over the years, like I said, I've done lots of training on my qualifications. I started, my background was level 2, level three beauty, and then I've gone on to do my level 4. anatomy and physiology, peels and microneedling and so on, kind of getting regulated, ready for, you know, who knows what's going to happen in the future. And then, of course, CPD, you know, learning as well. It does vary, yes, where you know, you do learning and your training, that does vary. But I find for me, like, I'm always someone, I'll do my training, but then I'm always kind of researching, and you never stop learning, even though you go on that course, whatever it might be, a qualification or a CPD course, then you kind of need to then carry on researching and kind of, yeah, putting it into practice. And I just find you never stop learning in this industry. There's always, you know, something more that you can keep learning. And yeah, but the training does vary depending on where you've gone. Luckily, I have to say I've had all good, I've not had any like awful stories or anything crazy, but yeah, all good experiences so far. But I know there is a lot of cowboy trainers and scary stories that you hear out there.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate. And I think, as you mentioned, regulations and things, I think this is trying to curb this whole, you know, people that are in it for maybe a bit of quick money,
Yeah.
maybe don't have the experience or knowledge to actually be telling somebody else what to do.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's something that's trying to be kind of curbed. But obviously
Yeah.
you do a lot of training yourself, which is
Yeah.
amazing. So I suppose obviously first letting us know kind of what you do and how you got into going from a practitioner to actually being the person training people.
Yeah. So I worked for a well-known laser and skincare clinic in the UK. So I did that. That was kind of one of my last jobs before I went to work for the International Derma Institute as a trainer. I think while I was doing that aesthetic role, I realised, oh yeah, I really want to like be that teacher. Like I remember, you know, being on a sort of training session, thinking I want to do that job. Like I really want to do that. And that's when I then did my teaching qualification, did my assessors, went to work for the International Derma Institute training. Really enjoyed that, loved it. And there, but then, like I say, family and things came along. So then I took a step back and went back into more of a clinic aesthetics environment. But then since then, off the back of that, I teach beauty guild courses. So anything from beauty, holistic, any of those courses that I'm qualified in, I teach through the beauty guild. And then my friend's JF Advanced Aesthetics, I'll teach all of the aesthetic side of things through her business as well. So, but what I also like, I do like being hands-on with the treatments as well. So that's why I still am very much hands-on, because I didn't want to just be that trainer and then you actually get really rusty when you're back in the treatment room. So it's quite nice that I've got that balance of I work in a clinic a couple of days a week, do my private sort of treatments, and then do the training as well. So I'm very much still in the industry to give that, you know, yeah, information from that sort of side of your point of view as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I think as a trainer, it's good to be able to prove your ability. So being able to maintain that level by also still being in a clinic and actually treating, whether they're your own clients or the clinic's clients. I suppose that also helps prove that, you know, I can tell you this because my work is good and I know what I'm talking about, which is what
definitely. Yeah, exactly. And you're up to date, you're kind of current with everything as well, which is good, and all the latest sort of treatments. And yeah, definitely.
Is there any specific either treatment or maybe a type of course that you love to teach or love to do?
So I love anything skin related. So I love skin, any skin treatments, peels, microneedling, skin boosters. I'm loving all of that. For me, I think the skin, like treating the skin, get the condition of the skin in really good condition versus like just putting a load of filler in it. I think there is a place for both, but I do really think it's good to get the skin in a good condition first. So that's a course of microneedling, some skin boosters, feeding the skin from within. So I love doing those treatments and I love teaching them as well. Yeah, anything skin related, I love it.
Yeah, that's great. And with regards to kind of skin related treatments, obviously you mentioned microneedling and things like that. How often, from a client's point of view, would you suggest that they would actually like book into a clinic for a specific facial treatment?
So I think I always offer, both at the clinic I work at and at home, usually like a little free sort of mini skin consult, so that they could come in, we can look at their skin, discuss what, you know, might be best for them, because they might come to me and say, you know, they in their mind think they want a certain treatment, whether that's filler, you know, anti-wrinkle, whatever it might be, and actually when you look at their skin or discuss with them, it might be something, you know, something else that's better. So I kind of think it's really good to start off with that consultation first, assess the skin, have a look at it. And then, yeah, usually for me, it's like a combination of treatments. It's not like one size fits all. So it might be, let's get the texture of the skin good, let's have some peeling. They can be anything from sort of, depending on the peel and what you're using, anything from weekly intervals to 2 to 4 weeks. Have a course of those, and then microneedling usually every 4 to 6 weeks to give that skin the chance for the collagen to build up, and that collagen to come to the surface. So I think they're really nice treatments to, you know, start with, and then yes, have some treatments with, you know, anti-wrinkle, or if they want to have fillers and things like that, then obviously, yeah, there's a place for those as well.
Yeah, and you did mention it's about kind of what's best for that client. Everyone's an individual. It's not
Yeah.
one size fits all. So it's really
Mhm.
about, you know, what suits them, along with also what they want and what you know that they
Yes.
need as an educated and trained eye.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, definitely.
letting them know that there's kind of those options there. Is there like a specific client that you have, as in maybe do you treat more younger clients, maybe more older clients? Is there anything specific, or is it just a broad range?
I would say probably more, it is a range, but I would say more probably between the 30 to 50 or 30 to 60 bracket. So age 30 to 60. Yeah, predominantly around that age. Yeah, I would say.
Yeah, and is that kind of intentional, or has that just come from maybe they live around you, or do you do specific maybe marketing that attracts those type of clients?
No, I don't think it's anything specific that I've done, you know, in particular, or that I'm aware of, but I just find people, I guess, when they hit 30, they're like, oh, I need to start doing something, or, you know, if they haven't already before, yeah, so then they start wanting to, you know, oh, I'm concerned with these lines, you know, or, you know, what it might be. So, yeah, I just think that I've kind of, yeah, attracted that clientele, and a lot of mine is like friends and then their recommendations, and then it's kind of in word of mouth. So I don't particularly advertise, apart from like social media on Instagram, Facebook. I don't do any paid advertising. So a lot of it is just like word of mouth, and yeah.
Yeah, that was a question I was going to ask actually, is kind of how do you find that you get your clients, or whether you had any suggestions for other practitioners or specifically people kind of just starting out in the
Mm.
industry. What would you maybe recommend them to do in terms of trying to find the first clients and actually like maintaining
Yeah.
them and getting them to come back?
I think because with Instagram and Facebook, it's changed a lot now. Like there's all this algorithm and there's all this, you know, a lot of the time your stuff doesn't get seen. And I've definitely noticed a difference with that. But I still begrudge kind of paying for advertising and so on, because actually I think a lot of it comes down to word of mouth
Mm.
and the client experience. So I think if you can, yes, get, you know, if you're just starting out, yeah, friends, family, or share it on your personal page, get those initial clients in, whether it be friends and family, give them a great, fantastic treatment, a really good experience. And then they are going to recommend to their friends and family. And then it's just like a knock on effect from that. Because, and also I think it's easier to keep the clients that you've got and kind of get them rebooking versus just finding new clients that come once and then don't come back. Like you kind of want a really good, like nice client base, that, you know, loyal clients that keep coming back as well. And a lot of that I
Yeah.
think comes down to the experience you give them, the treatment, the knowledge you've got, you know, being thorough, doing a consultation, really finding out from them what is their concern, what do they want to achieve, whether that's with their skin or whatever it might be, and recommending aftercare and things like that, because it's more than just the treatment. Like, yes, a lot of therapists can do the treatment, but they're not so good on the consultation or aftercare. So I think just getting really hot on that, because that sometimes makes it.
Yeah, and it is about kind of a whole experience, because some people
Mm.
also don't have the means to do these things all the time. So they want it to be kind of like a day out.
Yes.
And really get the full kind of package. And as you mentioned, that includes a consultation and aftercare, and also for the aspect of safety, which is paramount in this industry. That should be above anything, is making sure our clients are safe, and also ourselves. I wonder what you do in terms of ensuring safety, basically.
Well, that brings me on to faces, I guess. Actually, faces consent are why I started using that. So when I first became sort of self-employed and I was looking at, you know, consultation forms and everything, I came across, I don't even know how I came across faces consent, but I did. And I've been using it since, like, because I think I looked to see when I signed up, it was literally, I think, when it was first launched. So, you know, years ago. And for me, I love it because they are literally, there's the pre-made consultation forms there, all the consultation questions, you know, you choose what treatments you do, it's all there. There's aftercare forms, everything. You know that information is all, you know, all correct. You're getting the customer to sign, the client. And it's all stored, because I didn't want a big filing cabinet, a locked filing cabinet with all this paperwork. And so I love it. So, and that ensures me, I know that I'm obviously being safe by checking their medical history, checking that there's no contraindications, and then having that little verbal discussion with them when they come in as well. Obviously you've got your photos on there on the consent forms. You've got all that record and everything to keep you safe, the client safe, and, you know, insurance requirements as well.
Yeah, and I think that was our aim with Faces, is to make sure that everything's covered, because there is so much to cover, and it can be easy to forget, especially when we have the client, you know, face to face with us. We maybe have clients coming in, we know we've got a certain amount of time. So I think that was our aim with Faces, is to make sure, you know, we have your back as practitioners, that we can tick, you know, everything, double check, as you mentioned, being able to put the pictures on there, which is helpful, I think, then maybe to reference if that person was to come in for another treatment. You can look back at where you started, if there's any differences, that kind of.
Definitely. That's what I love. So I do that as well. Use it, like, say, put your notes on there, what you did in that treatment, or, you know, what you recommended or anything. So I found that really helpful. And it's not loads of paperwork, you haven't got to store anything anywhere. It's great. And I always forward it to the client first hand, so then you've got that ready, so that saves time, but also you get to have a little look at that to check, you know, before they come in, if there's anything that's flagging up. Or
I think that's helpful, actually, you mentioning about kind of letting them know prior, because it saves time, and it also, then you know what you might want to say at the time, or discuss if there's anything extra you think you might need to tell them relating to aftercare, like that. So I think that's really helpful, and probably good advice for people who haven't thought, actually, maybe I should do this before, save a bit of time and cover all angles.
And I think the other thing as well, like, so many more people are using more advanced skincare. So whether that's retinol, there's so many different, you know, brands out there. There's that Dermatica, there's Skinamy, so much access now where the consumer is using, like, stronger products and so on, which perhaps if you see that on the consultation form, you can say to them, look, you need to stop that, you know, 3 to 5 days before your treatment. Whereas if you hadn't had that consultation form before, they come in for a skin peel or whatever it is, and you're asking them, oh, what do you currently use? Oh, I use, you know, retinol or whatever, tretinoin. So that's good, because that and even actually for any sort of treatment, even for, like, therapists that are doing waxing and so on, there's so much, you know, that's really important, because obviously it's thinning the skin and they need to kind of stop that or have a little break.
And I think, as you mentioned, waxing, people assume with aesthetics, you know, consent, but actually majority of things in the beauty industry in general you should be getting consent, and at least knowing a tiny bit of background. As you mentioned, people use certain creams that can really affect, like, sensitivity. So really getting that kind of background check is so helpful, and ultimately covers your back.
Exactly. I know I've got the right questions on there. I know it's exactly, you know, rather than me trying to create a consultation form, I know it's done. So it saves me time as well, which is great.
And I think, kind of going back to what you mentioned earlier, we kind of very, very briefly touched on kind of legislations and things like this. Obviously, we know there's the whole traffic light system that might or might not be kind of put in place. Who knows yet?
Yeah.
What's your kind of opinion on that at the moment as it stands?
So I do think, yes, something needs to be done, because, you know, years ago, to get into this industry, you either had to be a medic, or you had to have done beauty therapy level 2, level 3, or your anatomy and physiology, like an actual qualification. Whereas now, you know, people are popping up everywhere where they might have been doing, I don't know, whatever for all their life, and then all of a sudden they've done this CPD course or whatever, and they're now, yeah, injecting people's faces, or even doing normal beauty treatments, whatever it might be. But actually, they don't. You know, you can't learn how to do something in a day without having any background knowledge or having any qualifications behind you. So I do think regulation is needed, but then at the same time, I do still think there's a place for CPD certificates in this industry, because this industry is always changing. There is always new treatments, but I think you still need to have like that basic qualification, and then, yes, you know, maybe some CPD training and stuff. But there is people out there who don't have any qualifications and just have CPD. So I think that's, for me, where, yes, I think there does need to be some sort of like streamlining with qualifications, and yeah, who can do it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I suppose kind of maybe the way I look at it as well is holding everybody to the same standard, which I think, as
Yeah.
you mentioned, avoids these people that kind of quickly pop out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's ensuring that, and again, it goes back to safety, doesn't it? That
Yeah.
everybody's maintaining a standard within the industry, and that they're doing it safely and accurately.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
prevent any, mishaps, whatever.
Definitely, because I think it was on one of Holly's podcasts. Yeah, there was someone saying that, I can't remember if it was a training or something, but that the person was using like the same needle with like anti-wrinkle injections, using the same needle on people. And I was just like, that is horrendous. Like, that is serious. That's, you know, awful. So, and that's scary. And I think there's craziness going on, and that's, you know, got to be, that's, like, say, safety, that needs to kind of stop. And then it does give everyone then kind of a bad name. There's like medic, non-medic war, and so on. But actually, I don't think there should be that divide, because you get good medics, bad medics, good, you know, aesthetics, beauty, and bad, you know. So yeah, I don't think it's about that. I think, like I say, it's just kind of like having everyone at that same, you know, with qualifications and so on, or who can do it.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, I mean, only time will tell, won't it? It's quite frustrating, I think, for everyone to be in this kind of limbo land. People are like, should I go and do more training? Is this necessary? Is it not? You know, not knowing is scary, actually, especially when people actually have their own businesses they're trying to run. Very
Definitely
concerning at this point in time. But I suppose, just to round up this podcast then, what are your plans for the future, or anything you've kind of got going on or coming up?
So at the moment, I'm just kind of, like I said, I've done my level 4 chemical peels, microneedling. So I think they're in the green traffic lights. I was like, okay, well, hopefully that will be safe. I've got my level 4 in that, so I've got a qualification. I am tempted to do level 5 and go on, but then at the same time, I am thinking maybe just sit tight for a minute and see what happens. Like, I've got, like I say, got my level 4 behind me, and then if needed, I will move on and do my level 5. But for now, I'm just kind of sitting tight and seeing, you know, what's going to happen. Like I say, with what qualifications, because I think that's the thing as well. Like, we still don't know if that the level 5, the level 7, if that's going to be accepted, if that's okay. But at the same time, I think it's great to do it to get that extra knowledge. And if you love learning like I do, so I am still tempted, but I'm just going to hold fire for a little bit and then just go from there. But
yeah, I mean, I think that's sensible. It is a case of, until you know what's actually going to be required of everybody in the industry, it probably is best to kind of wait and see, because as well, training costs money. Some training costs a lot of money. So unless you are absolutely dying to do it, you kind of want to wait to know that it's necessary before parting with hard-earned cash.
Exactly. And that's where I kind of thought, well, you know, yes, the green treatments that you'll need a license for, but you're still gonna be able to do. But then there was like the amber treatments where you might need well, we don't really know what amber is going to look like yet, if you need someone a medic to stand over you or whatever. But then that seems silly if you're paying them to come and stand over you. They may as well do it. But I mean, we don't know exactly if that's what's required. But yeah, so I think for now, yeah, I would just say I think it's great for people to kind of get the qualifications behind them that gets them up to maybe kind of like a level 4 or so on, and then you're kind of ready to see what's going to be needed from there.
Yeah, definitely. Well, as I said, time will tell, and hopefully it will
Yes.
not be too much longer. That is what we all wish for. But thank
Yeah.
you so much for joining me on the Face It podcast. I appreciate you sharing your knowledge and your advice with us. Just before we wrap up, did you want to let everybody know where they can find you on social media? So like your names and where you're based in real life as well.
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram and Facebook at Arabella Elizabeth Beauty. I am Surrey, Hampshire border, so that is where I do any treatments and training from. And then, like I say, from that you'll see you'll be able to find all the links to kind of my website and the aesthetic training from my friend's company as well, JF Advanced Aesthetics, and yeah, all information's on there.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much again. That was absolutely fabulous having you here.
Thank you very much, Lydia.
See you later.
Thanks. Bye.